You'll be the prince and I'll be the princess. It's a LARP story, baby, just say yes. Welcome to the first episode of Season 3, everyone! Allow me to start this by asking a simple question. Want to do a single game of LARP? No? Too short? What about 2 or 3? Still too short? How about a whole bunch of games and we can call it a campaign? Sounds good? Good then, because I'm going to show you how to LARP a whole campaign with a story! As I mentioned in one of my previous videos, it's easier for people to beat off other people if they've got a good story to go along with it. Nobody wants to beat off a room full of men without context. Unless you're into gel blasters, sports, or video games, I guess. I don't judge. Point is, we all need a reason to do stuff. We want it, we crave it, we need it. Why am I storming a keep? Why am I fighting a dragon? Why do we exist in a world where death is inevitable, where the promise of an afterlife is uncertain? Too existential? Let's pull it back a bit. For the more pragmatic LARPer who only wants to win and doesn't care about the story, you should still pay attention since they can give you a boost in power. One scenario might involve players gathering some sort of holy artifact to defeat an evil overlord that gives you a buff when holding said artifacts. Generally speaking, when making a campaign, there's continuity involved. Whether it's power-giving loot, a reoccurring enemy, or some sort of other mechanic or area that can be destroyed and or developed based on player actions. For balance reasons, sometimes these buffs are limited to specific days or scenarios, but if they're permanent, there's usually a way for other players to wrest control away from the original holders. The main issue of continuity is what happens when certain key players don't attend an event because they caught the flu or something. If a player who just runs around hitting things doesn't turn up, it's not too much of an issue. But if a character who got the legendary amulet last time, that's needed to defeat the big bad evil guy, doesn't turn up, then we're in a bit of a pickle. But not really. When something like this happens, we can do one of 3 things. The first is to ignore the fact that they're missing and create a stand-in. Maybe give someone else a magic amulet that looks slightly different, but say it's the same one in universe and continue with the game. Your second option is to ignore it even harder and put everyone through a side quest until the original amulet guy shows up. And the third thing is kind of my favorite from a thematic sense, but problematic in its own way. And that is to let the bad guy win. Now, unless the bad guy's plan is to literally kill everyone and stop them from respawning forever, the story can continue. Remember, a story doesn't have to be victory after victory after victory. It can also have its downs, terrible lows, and defeats. Note, this only works if the missing player would be okay with this, and if the other people are nice and not the sort to get mad at the absent player out of character. And I just realized I've only covered PvE type stuff. Quickly speaking, to have a PvP type campaign, instead of having an overarching villain, just have an overarching reward, whether it be loot, land, or prestige, to name a few. Said campaigns don't have to be initiated by the organizers, but instead by the players themselves, and of course there's nothing stopping multiple campaigns happening in the same game at the same time. That about covers it, I hope. So now you know how to do story stuff and campaigns in LARP. You're welcome. Want a clue for the next topic of the next episode? Well, let's just say it involves people who scream a lot.